You are listening to the Team Audio Series, designed to assist you in the building of your life business. While no one can guarantee the following techniques and approaches will work for you, we do hope they contribute to the building of a strong and profitable business. For more information, please visit our website at www.the-team.biz.
The contents of this CD by Orrin and Lori Woodward house a story about an average husband and wife who were struggling to pay their bills and striving to find a way to restore hope, discover their purpose, and be able to truly enjoy their marriage. Raised in small towns, college educated, and unafraid of hard work, this young couple thought they were doing all the right things, but soon found themselves depleted and overwhelmed. Eventually, they were barely able to have a civil conversation, let alone provide loving support to one another. Their communication continued to falter, and sadly, divorce appeared imminent. Orrin, relentless by nature and formally educated as an engineer, skillfully analyzed his dilemma. Notorious for his unwillingness to surrender, he began educating himself outside of the classroom, and what he found would change everything. Orrin and Lori transformed their lives from nearly calamitous to exceedingly triumphant. And now, in this recording, they share the profoundly impactful information they implemented to make such a drastic improvement in their lives, in the hopes that you too can experience the same kinds of blessings and rewards in yours.
We share our story only to tell you some of the lessons that we learned along the way, to give you guys hope more than anything, you know, because when you hear the story, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, these two. But anyway, we were so far in debt, and you know, I was taught that, you know what, you're going to be in debt for the rest of your life anyway, so have fun, you know? So I'm going to be in debt anyway, just have fun, right? Well, Orrin, debt is cancer. You don't have debt. Debt is bad, but debt is taboo. Debt is a 4-letter word. Ha, it is. Oh, but anyway, wait. No, but anyway, it was just bad. You just didn't have it. And I'm like, why not? I mean, I know I'm an accountant and I understand interest and all that stuff, but why not? And how many of you do that? You get the credit card. I had 10 different credit cards, and I was always like, well, it's $10 a month. We can afford that. You know, they're maxed out. It's $10 a month, or maybe it was 20 at the time, I don't remember, but, you know, I'm like, we can afford this totally. And he's like, you don't get it. Late fee, bad. Interest, bad. And I'm like, but it's $20. I'm like, come on. And you guys might not understand this because you're in California, but have you ever been so cold that your nostrils hurt? Like inside, they're frozen. The stuff in there, you know, that's sick, but it's frozen and it hurts. You can't even blow it because you're afraid it'll break, you know, it's like, well, because we lived in Michigan, you know, during the winter back then, and so he was frugal, and we had a wood-burning stove. That's what he wanted to heat the house with. Well, I'm terrified of fire, okay? So he's like, just go throw a log in. I'm like, I didn't say you go throw a log in. I don't want to do that, you know, whatever. And that's where we were, because I'm like, I ain't doing that. If you want to do that, you go do that. That was a nice, supportive wife that I was. So we heated our home with a wood-burning stove, and it was freezing. It did not warm the house. The stove area was warm, but that was down in the basement. I'm like, this is not working out so good, you know. So he'd leave for work, and I'd turn the heat on. And we didn't have air conditioning, so in the summer, it was like hot. I couldn't even get in the car and turn the air on because our car didn't have air. He had a car with no floorboard on my side. It was bad because, you know, because we didn't have the air conditioning, and in the winter we had to heat the house with that wood-burning stove, and we had to have plastic over our windows to keep the heat in. You know, you ever have that? Yeah, some of you that aren't originally from California. Well, I think it was the beginning of the end for me with the plastic. You talk about not having your ducks in a row. I'm like, I can't even see who's at the door. Who's there? Because I have plastic all over. I live in a plastic bubble. This is ridiculous. It was crazy. So it was the beginning of the end, but it was also the beginning because that's how our crazy journey got started. He said we could have a guy come over and show us windows. I don't know why he said that, because we weren't going to buy any. So I'm like, this is a big joke. He'll tell you more about how we got started on the window thing. But so anyway, we had no heat, no air. We had nothing. It was cold. It was hot. It was not comfortable. We had a hole in the floorboard. I was ready to jump out the hole sometimes. And then I'll never forget this. We were going to go buy our first new car together. Okay, because I thought, you know what, this floorboard thing's getting ridiculous. I'm not going anywhere. And, the stop sign that we had at the bottom to, isn't that funny? Stop! Don't go out the car! Okay. Well, anyway, we would drive by this dealership. It was a beautiful red truck, and red's my favorite color. I'm just like, it's a shiny object for me. I'm like, red, there it is, whatever. So I love this red truck, and it was up on a platform, and it would spin around. It was a 4x4. It had nice big tires. It was loaded to the max. It was cool. I mean, it was an awesome truck. And then so, Orrin was going to go buy it, and he came home with a blue work truck. Yeah. It had little bitty tires. And no air. He said, but honey, it's got a sliding window in the back. We don't need air. I'm like, But you know what? That was a great example of how we shrink down our dreams to fit our financial circle, right? Isn't it? Instead of increasing our income, we shrunk down our dreams. Now if it would have been me in charge, I would have increased our finances with the credit card. Don't do that. That is the worst thing you can do. We literally fought all the time. He'd come home from work, we'd have dinner, and we'd fight. We'd get up in the morning, have breakfast, and we'd fight. And then, we had a team up north that, after we got involved, we would drive 10 hours up, and I literally got to the point, we'd get in the car, I'm like, do you want to fight now or you want to wait a few hours? Just curious, because, I'm ready. Bring it on, because I'm ready, We both had to be right all the time. And we both hated losing. I mean, just could not stand it. And, we were in competition with each other. Well, actually, it was probably me in competition with him because he's thinking, what is your deal, chick? Just get it together, would you? But I was just constantly competing with him. I felt like I had to be better than him in everything. What a small person I was. And we argued. I mean, if I said left, he'd say right. If he said blue, I'd say pink. It was just because. I mean, I might agree with him, but I would have to say the opposite just to fight. I don't know why. It was just insane. Now, in all fairness, you heard what they wrote in his yearbook, arguing early and late. If the line were crooked, he'd argue it straight. Yeah, he didn't tell me that till after we were married, so. So, I didn't tell him how bad our finances were either till later, which was a bad thing. So the lesson there is you have to communicate. You have to communicate all the time, and you have to communicate in a loving way, and you have to be approachable. Because I was afraid to tell Orrin how bad our finances were because, he was not approachable back then. So I was terrified to tell him how bad it was. And, well, he found out because he went to the mailbox one day before me and got the bills. It was not a pretty day that day. And so I had had enough, he had had enough, and we fought. There's a shocker. Yeah, we fought another day. But we fought to the point where I said, that's it, I'm done. I went to my mom's house. And here's the thing, that was the first time I actually left to actually move out. But I will tell you, I took off my ring almost every fight and threw it at him. I was done. But I will tell you this. I read a lot of books like The 5 Love Languages and figured out his love language was, words of affirmation. And to me, words of affirmation were just a bunch of words. They're a bunch of lies. I'm not a words of affirmation person, or I wasn't then. And because I felt like I had been lied to my whole life. Oh, my parents love each other. Oh, wait, now they're divorced. What's that all about? And some other things happened and whatever. So just me, words were just a bunch of words. So I wasn't believing, don't tell me you love me, just show me. Like, go vacuum the living room. Then I would know you love me, right? Well, Orrin did not speak acts of service. He didn't understand that whole concept. So we were just doing great. I'm not speaking words of affirmation. He's not doing any acts of service. So we were not speaking each other's love languages at all, okay? It just was not happening. And then I read Love and Respect and Becoming the Woman of His Dreams and A Woman After God's Own Heart. I've read tons and tons of marriage books. And I'll tell you what, I got slapped across the face by a book almost every week. I was finishing another one. I'm like, oh, look at all these things I'm doing wrong. Like, I didn't understand I was supposed to complete him and not compete with him. I was one of those women livers, okay? But what I had to learn was, there are so many things that I could do to help him become a success. And I did not want to hear that at first. There are days where, I'm probably doing more stuff than he is. And I'll never forget when we got involved and we were building the business or whatever, and he had a job, and he would come home from his job. Now, I was a stay-at-home mom at this point. By the way, this is what they told us when we saw an opportunity like this. They said, Lori, you can be a stay-at-home mom. I'm like, fired up. I like that idea. And they said, and he could be a stay-at-home dad. I'm like, dream stealer. I don't want that, Yeah, they're looking at me like, what? Like, long story. So anyway, I'll never forget that he had a job. He'd come home, he'd eat his food, he'd take a nap, he'd read, and then we would go show the plan together. Okay? I'm at home with children doing everything else, paying the bills, doing the garbage, doing the dishes, making the meals, running the kids everywhere, cutting the lawn, everything else. Like, we sat down one day and I said, okay, we want to go from point A to point B. What's it going to take to get there? So he listed out his responsibilities: work, read, show the plan. I'm like, you forgot eat and nap. You forgot that on that list. I had 3 pages, and I'm not kidding, 3 pages. I'm like, this is not fair. This is sick and wrong is what this is, But what I realized is he was doing exactly what he needed to be doing to get us to financial freedom. And I would do it again and again and again to get us to where we are today. So we decided that, we're going to put the past in the past, and we're going to leave it there. Now we can tell stories and laugh about it because it is pretty darn funny when you look at it. It's ridiculously funny because how immature were we, and leave it there and just move on and go forward. And that's what I would encourage you guys. If you're on the marriage train wreck, you know what? Get it together. Read some books and figure out how to work together as a team. We felt like, man, how could we get in and lead people if we can't even have our household right, It was just impossible because I felt like we were being so fake. Oh, yeah, he's a great leader. Can't even lead his house. It was like that's where we were. So I encourage you to read the books that we recommend, that people recommend, your uplines recommend. You read those books and apply them. And don't read for your husband and don't read for your wife. Read for yourself. I tried that. It does not work. I had highlighter all over. I had little sticky notes pointing with arrows like, read this right here. Apply this. It just doesn't work. And ladies, learn to just fill in the gaps and do whatever it is, whatever it takes. I can go on a date with my kids, which we have date days for each of our kids, and not worry about coming home and having my house fall apart because it's being cleaned while I'm gone. Or whatever. Whatever you want. That's what it is. So, just be willing to pay that price and get it together and just leave the past in the past. So I'm not really sure what your story is, but I would love to hear it. But I will tell you this, whatever your story is, in order for you to have success, it's going to include growth and change, or change and growth. It's going to have to, okay? Change is the only constant in life, which is kind of a funny thing. Change is inevitable, but growth is optional, okay? So change is going to come and go, and it's just going to be there. Life is dynamic, so it's constantly changing. But you choose whether or not you're going to grow. Because we could have changed, Dorn and I could have changed in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? I could have left and he could have went his way, or we could be married and go in 2 separate ways. We could have done a lot of different things, but we decided to grow together. We decided that it was much better to quit fighting each other and instead fight together for a noble cause. That is so important, to get ourselves out of the way and realize, you know what? People are counting on us. We have a job to do. We have a calling, and we are going to fulfill that calling. I am serious when I say we have a noble fight to fight. We do. We have a noble cause to fight for. I don't know if you guys are aware of the media war that we have going on. We got some issues. We have some issues. I am watching, I'm constantly watching what is going on in my kids' lives and the music that they're listening to. And, we don't let them watch a lot of TV, but we do let them watch some TV, and I'm monitoring all that stuff, and I'm appalled. I am appalled at the music that is out there. I'm appalled at the TV shows that are out there that are making things that are wrong look okay. That is wrong. They're messing with our kids, you guys. Our kids are at stake. It's hard. You want to tell them that, hey, these are the right principles, and you want to be able to say, you make your decisions, and you know what's right, and you know what's wrong. It's everywhere, though. They're bombarded with it. on the computer, on the TV, on the music, everything. They're bombarded with it, billboards. So it is everywhere, and we have a cause to fight for. And I just want to end with this poem. One night, I had a wondrous dream. One set of footprints there was seen, the footprints of my precious Lord, but mine were not along the shore. But then some stranger prints appeared, and I asked the Lord, what have we here? Those prints are large and round and neat, but Lord, they're too big for feet. My child, he said in somber tones, for miles I carried you alone. I challenged you to walk in faith, but you refused and made me wait. You disobeyed, you would not grow. The walk of faith you would not know. So I got tired and I got fed up, and there I dropped you on your butt. There's more. All right, because in life there comes a time when one must fight and one must climb and one must rise and take a stand or leave their butt prints in the sand. So I ask you, are you leaving footprints or butt prints? It's up to you. God bless you in your dreams. Here's Orrin.
Thank you so much. Go ahead, grab a seat, grab a seat. You know, to close this afternoon, I want to share with you the head, heart, and hunger of this business. If you're going to build this business, if you're going to change your destiny, so to speak, you're going to go through these 3 phases in order to do so. When I got started in this community building enterprise, I didn't understand what I got started in. I mean, it was all just head knowledge. I knew a couple things. I had done what everybody told me to do. Anybody told you, you go to school, get good grades, work real hard, and then go to a good college and get good grades there so you can get a nice, secure job with benefits. Anybody told you that? Yeah. And of course they said, if you do that, you'll live the American dream. Well, nowadays they don't even really say that because they know that you're not going to get a job and work the same job for 45-year plan. In fact, the 45-year plan is dead. It's actually 9 plans of about 5 years now. Because you're constantly changing jobs and whole professions are disappearing just because of the rate of change. I was doing everything they told you to do, and that sounds like such an impressive resume, but let me tell you the rest of the story. The rest of the story is Lori and I were married. We were struggling, trying to figure out how to be married because we were both very independent people, both very hardworking. Lori had come home. I'd promised Lori that if she married me, I'd built the big dream. I said, if you marry me, we're going to make all kinds of money. We're going to travel the world. I'm going to be a president of some big company, probably General Motors. And you've got to be used to flying in jets. And if you want to work, you can. But if you want to be a stay-at-home mom, no problem. And I could tell she was warming up a little bit. But I had to go further. And I said, and if you marry me, you can have as many kids as you want, because I knew she loved kids. And I think that closed the deal. So she said, I do. And we got married, but it wasn't working out quite the way. I started working and I realized, I looked at my check, and after taxes and after all the expenses, I'm like, man, I'm not making enough. So I came home to work with a plan for diversifying my income. I said, convince Lori to go to work. Not by a show of hands, but how many men figured that one out, right? Let's diversify our income, right? So I said, Lori, you're probably bored stiff watching soap operas at home. Why don't you go get a job? We can pool our poverty. And so she's working, I'm working, it's not going so well. And then all of a sudden she comes home from work one day and announces that we're pregnant. And there's a part of me that's like, fired up, man, I've always wanted kids, this is awesome. But then the rational, logical engineer side said, oh no! Kids probably cost some money and I'm already broke. And what if Lori remembers all those crazy things? You know, before you get married, you call it courting. After you get married, you call it lying. I'm like, my plan was like the ostrich. I buried my head in the sand. I'm not going to bring up that she can come home from her job. Maybe she forgot all that stuff. And month after month would go by. She's getting more and more pregnant. And she's coming home complaining more and more about her job. But I'm not bringing it up. One day I got home from work. I was scarfing down some food so I could get on the trail, get down to my master's program. She comes home from work, throws her keys down the table, says, Orrin, we need to talk. I've been thinking. I knew where this was going. I'm like, this is not going good. What were you thinking about, dear? She says, I want to have this child, and I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Points right at me like you promised me. Now, those are fighting words. I'm like, but honey, you don't understand. And I tried to, man, she had planned this out. She was good. Because every excuse I tried to make, she just looked at me and said, you promised me. I know I promised you, but you promised me. About the third you promised me, I was done, man. It was case over. You're right, honey. I promised you. I got in the car and I was driving down to University of Michigan. I'm pounding on the steering wheel, talking to my steering wheel. Anybody else ever talk to their steering wheel? I'm talking to my steering wheel. I'm saying, I did everything I was supposed to do. When they said get the good grades, I did get the good grades. When they said work extra hard, I did put in the 10 to 12 hours. I did everything I was supposed to do. If I'm this busted and everybody around me telling me how good I'm doing, how is everybody else doing? How is everybody doing this? Now, I didn't realize at the time everybody else was financing everything. I was trying to live as best I could a cash lifestyle, but I just kept getting further and further behind. I'm pounding my steering. There has to be a better way. I must have missed a turn on the success trail somewhere. And it wasn't a month later that Lori says, hey, we live in this 1958 house with original 1958 Anderson windows. And she says, this salesman's coming over, something. And so we set up a meeting for this salesman to come over, and he starts talking about windows, and I'm not a friendly guy. I'm a very logical engineer that really doesn't like people. So he sits down, we offer him a coffee, he's drinking his coffee, and he starts to go through this big spiel on windows. And I'm like, look, let's just cut to the chase here. Show me the cheapest set of windows you got in that catalog. He shows me that, and like, oh, that's a couple thousand more than I have. Well, what's the rush? See you later. And I'm walking him to the door. But this guy's different. This guy, now I didn't know it at the time, but this guy had been listening to self-improvement material and getting himself all fired up because he's going, oh, that's all right. Fired up. So I've kind of gotten him to the door. I'm like, he's fired up that I'm throwing him out of my house. Okay. I'm like, so I just kind of stopped and look at him, like trying to figure out who is this guy. I'm like, well, what are you so fired up about? Oh, well, this is just one of my businesses. I run a couple other businesses too. Fired up. What other businesses you run? He says, oh, I sell baseball cards. Man, I'm making a lot of money buying and selling and trading baseball cards. And I'm like, I got baseball cards. Man, imagine if I could sell this guy some of my baseball cards. I'd make enough money. Lori could come home. I got the plan. Hey, what's your rush? Why don't you sit down and finish your coffee? So I sit him down. I run downstairs and I had to grab 3 or 4 shoe boxes full of cards. I said, could you sell any of these? He said, oh yeah, I could sell this. Oh man, you got that. Oh, you got Gidry's rookie. Oh yeah, I could sell this. Rod Carew's rookie card. Oh yeah. He's going through. So I said, well, okay, well, how would I just give these to you? He said, well, here, let me mark up. And he marks all these cards that he's going to take. And he walks out of my house. I'm like, fired up. I call my buddy, Gary, you won't believe it. This guy's going to sell all my cards. I probably got 50,000 or so cards at this time, maybe more. I said, he's going to sell all these cards and I'm going to make a killing. Gary says, well, do you know this guy? Well, yeah, I just met him tonight. He said, how do you know you'll ever see this guy again? I hadn't really thought of that one, Gary. So I'm like panicking. I'm like, what if this guy's a scam artist? He just scammed me out of my cards because I was throwing him out of my house. Oh, man. All right, I better be real friendly to him if he talks to me again. So he calls me up a couple days later. Just want to let you know I've sold some of your cards. I've got some money for you. Would you like to meet? Like, yeah, I'd love to meet. He said, great. I'd love to. I'll swing by and drop off. And I also have another business I want to share with you. Fired up. Another business? What do you sell football cards too? Sure, whatever. And at this point, I'm thinking, this doesn't sound right. This sounds like one of those networking things, and like I've seen this networking thing around. I'm really not interested. And I'm about ready to just tell him, I'm not interested, forget that. But I'm thinking, wait a minute. If I tell him forget that, he might just disappear with my cards. Oh yeah, I'd love to see whatever you're going to show. That'd be great. So we book a meeting, and Lori comes from work, but this time Lori's getting real pregnant. And she said, well, what are we doing tonight? Well, I've got this guy, the guy, he's going to bring over some cards, and he's also going to show us another business. Another business? We're not going to do that. And she's storming around the house looking for her keys to leave. But luckily, I don't know, ladies, if you're like this, but Lori used to come home and she'd just throw her keys wherever they would land is where they were. And so it'd normally take her 15 to 20 minutes to find her keys. So I thought I got 15 minutes to convince her not to leave because I want to look like a man here, Because he said, is your wife going to be there? You bet your butt she's going to be there, I'm the man, of course. Please, honey, stay! You can imagine a guy holding on. Please, honey! Just stay! I'm trying to look like a real professional! Oh. She looks at me, you're dead after this meeting. She sits down. He shows up, fired up. He sits down at the table. He starts talking about stuff. I had no idea what he's talking about. He's drawing circles. They look like spiders. They look like you're getting a bonus here and this and U.S. ski team this and stuff. I have no idea what he's talking about. And I'm like, I got to tell this guy to get out of here. He's annoying me. He is upsetting Lori. Lori listens to him. Finally, she turns, after the third time he mentions U.S. ski team, she turns to him and says, I don't like skiing. And he said the same thing 3 times. And she just storms out of the room. He looks at me. She has to use the bathroom. She never came back, but, it's terrible. So finally, I got to tell this guy I am not interested. And I'm just about ready to tell him because that's kind of the way I was. I'd tell you what was on my mind, but I'm thinking, I can't tell him what's on my mind. He'll take my cards. I am so glad I gave him those cards because it kept me from doing something stupid and not looking at the information. So absolutely. So he leaves me. So instead of me telling him I'm not interested, which I wasn't, I said, well, yeah, I might. He said, well, I have some, at the time they were tapes, now they're CDs, but I have some tapes. Would you be interested in listening to some tapes? I said, sure, I'll listen to some tapes. I'll do anything you tell me as long as you don't take my baseball card. I didn't say that, but that's what I'm thinking. He gives me a shoebox full of tapes. A shoebox full. They had to be 25 on one side, 25. He gave me 50. Don't do that. But he gives me 50 tapes. I hold these tapes. He leaves the house. I look at these tapes. I ain't listening to these tapes. I don't even have a tape player in my car. So I set them in the corner. A period of time goes by. I call my friend Gary. This isn't working out. This guy, he's got my cards. I want to get my cards back. He's showing me this crazy thing. I'm not interested in this networking thing. How am I going to get out of this? And Gary says, well, how much is it to get in this thing? I don't know. It's under $200, but I don't have $200. I'm broke. He says, well, is it worth $200 to get all your cards back? Yeah, I think it is. He said, well, why don't you tell him you'll sign up if he sends all your cards back? I'm like, that's genius, Gary. Great idea. So I call him up. Yeah, I've reevaluated the information. I've decided I'm going to go ahead and get started. But since I'm going to build your business, I won't need to sell any more of my cards. So go ahead and bring those over and bring me one of those kits. So he brings over his kit to sign me up, brings all the cards. I check all the cards are there. And he says that'll be a check for $200 or somewhere around that. And I'm like, I don't have $200. Can I give you a credit card and you figure out how to, this is back when credit cards weren't as big a deal as they are today. So he had to figure out a way to order something to his house and give this one to me. It was crazy. But I'm just like, how embarrassing. He knows that I don't have any cash. But I finally sign up. I'm in officially. Still haven't listened to any of those tapes. He doesn't ask about it. I get in. I said, look I've got these products here, honey, if you want to use any. No. Okay. So I take the products downstairs, set them in my basement. Man, that's the end of my networking career, I'm still getting my MBA, working, studying. Then I get a call a couple weeks later saying, hey, I need to pick up those tapes that I loaned you. And I said, and when we get together, we can talk through, what you've learned from some of those. Now, me being an engineer, I'm thinking, I can't tell him I didn't listen to any. I'm going to have to listen to some before he comes over. So I said, okay, come over a Thursday night. I don't have school that night, and we can talk through a couple of CDs. So I'm shaving one morning, and I realized that I'm going down to school on Tuesday, and Tuesday nights I actually have a tape player because I get to use a company car. So I'm thinking, man, this is the only night I'm going to have a tape player. I better pick a couple of those tapes. So I go to this box. I just finished shaving. It's in a corner. The lights are off, and I'm flipping through these tapes, just trying to figure out two. I'll just listen to two and tell them that was good enough. I'd flip. Okay, I got to find something. What's interesting here? And I go, I don't know these guys. And I get to this one, Paul Pilsner. Pilsner? I love Pilsner beer. Yeah. Luckily, it was dark. I read it Pilsner and not Pilser, or else I probably would have never picked that one up. But Paul Pilsner taught me a lot. And then I flipped through another. And remember, I loved baseball and football cards. And I flipped through and I found this guy, this football player, all-pro football player. And I'm thinking, I know this guy got all of his cards. He's in this networking thing. Cool. And I slid that in there. So all day long at work, you can just imagine I'm walking around and these two tapes are just jiggling like crazy in my white pocket protector, protecting them. My name, just in case I forget it. Orrin Woodward. Okay. Color-coded. I was the quintessential engineer. I had color-coded pens in the direct order. Black always first, because you use black the most. Red second, because you criticize everything else. Right? Right? You gotta have the order. So, man, work's done. I check out my company car. And sure, I had in the company car, I always kept my Nirvana tape underneath the seat because I knew when I got in the car, it was time to jam out, man. So I put in Nirvana. Yeah! Rock and roll! I hate the world! The world hates me! I'm listening about the third tape in. I'm really getting into it. I'm like, oh, shoot. Got these CDs. Got about an hour drive. Man, I gotta listen to these CDs. Nirvana, tape, Nirvana, tape, Nirvana, goodbye. Put them down, and I put in Paul Pilsner, which I realized was Pilser as I was putting it in. All right, let's hear him. And this guy, he's an adjunct professor at the New York University, and he's talking about economic trends. He's talking about economic paradigms, technology gaps, all this stuff. I'm like, this is awesome. He hasn't mentioned the U.S. ski team once. I know the guy who showed me the plan never said any of this stuff. This is fired up, so I'm just driving down the road and keep looking, I don't know why anybody else look at the tape player as it's talking to you. I mean, risking life and limb to, oh, that's a good point, good point. I get down to school and I am jacked up. I'm like, woohoo! I'm a genius for getting in this. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be rich. Paul Pilsner and me, we're gonna be buds. I sit in school. All I hear all night is Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Wah, wah, wah. I'm like, I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna be rich. I'm gonna get my wife out of her job. I'm gonna be a hero. Oh, man, school's done. I get back in the car. I'm gonna listen to Pilser again. Fire me up, Pilser. I'm like, wait a minute. I got this other one. I'm gonna listen to a football player. So I put him in. And he starts talking about leadership. He starts talking about his coach. Don Shula was his coach. And he's talking about all these great things. I'm like, yeah, leadership. Yeah, that's what we need. That's what this country needs. Yeah, I'm gonna get free. Yeah, just like you. Oh, you had people criticizing you. Oh, I've got all kinds of people criticizing me. Oh, you actually had friends. I don't have any of those, but that's okay. It's about 11 o'clock at night. I'm pulling into Davison, man. There's weeds growing in the middle of my driveway. I'm a rich man. But I'm pulling in. Clunk, clunk, run over the weeds. And I got about 10 minutes left on the tape. You shut off the player, and you're just staring at the tape player as it's still talking. Because he's at this really dramatic point. He's saying, when I got started, my wife was this real successful wife of this all-pro football player. And she thought I was crazy to build a network. I'm like, yeah, tell me about it. My wife thinks that way too. But you know what? Now here's what I heard. But you know what, Orrin? Yeah, what? You're going to have to be a man. No, not tonight. Orrin, you're going to have to tell that little filly who's the boss. No, you don't understand. You just got to go in there and tell her that you're going to do this. That's what I did. You're a man, I'm not. But I listened enough and I'm like, he's right. For the first time in my life, I adjusted my belt to the front. Shut the door, and I walk in the house. Here's all I can hear. I walk in. Hey, Laura, you up? It's quiet. Okay, she's sleeping. I won't wake her. No, Orrin. You heard him. Time that you have your talk. So I walk over. Hey, honey, you up? It's your man speaking. Nothing. One thing about Lori, if she's sleeping, it's best you just let her lie. But not tonight. Hey, honey, it's your man speaking. Are you up? Nothing. Honey, wake up. We really got to talk. You ever seen The Exorcist? It was like, What? Oh, honey, please. I just listened to these tapes. They're amazing. You won't believe it. This business is way more than U.S. ski team. You won't believe how great it is. Please give me a chance. I really think I can do this. This is what she said. No word of a lie. This is what she said. Said, Orrin, you're brainwashed. Go to bed. And she laid back down. Now that almost blew me out, guys. That almost blew me out right there. I'm like, there's no way I can do this. And I thought, that football player said this would happen. Those CDs had prepared me for this. And I laid in bed and all I saw were all these circles of people I was going to share the plan to in this community we were going to build, and we could get free, and this was going to be great, and we'd have enough money. And the next day I explained a little bit more to Lori, and she said, well, I think you're crazy, but if you really think you want to do it, okay. Because Lori loved me enough, even while we were fighting, even though we had so many things messed up, even though we were in debt, even though I said, honey, I really think I could get you home if you just help me. And she loved me enough to give us a chance. She didn't want to do it. She didn't think, that's right. And after I listened to enough tapes, after I went back to that whole shoebox of tapes and I started listening to them all, I told my sponsor, I said, hey, listen, it's going to take me a little bit longer because I haven't listened to them all yet. And I started listening to them. And I listened to one that had this dad talking about being at home to raise their young daughter. And I said, this is the perfect first CD to give to Lori. So I was going to a meeting. I said, honey, I know you can't come to the meeting because I almost have the baby here, but could you just listen to this tape while I'm gone? I got the tape player all set up and she listened to that tape. And when I came home that night, she said, man, I started crying listening to that tape. And man, if this is what the business is about, being able to get free, I want to help you do it. Man. Because it certainly goes better if both husband and wife are partner if you're married. You know, I wish I could tell you and that was it. Man, we had this big dream and everything else turned out okay. But the truth is, we got started in business and we thought we were fighting before the business. We were fighting a lot more after. Some of you probably noticed that. You're like, man, we never fought until we get in this business. Well, actually, you never talked until you got in the business. At least you never talked about anything serious. I mean, if you talk, Lori and I, our conversations before this business were, we'd sit down and say, is Melrose Place on yet? What about Beverly Hills 210? Let's watch and see who's cheating on who tonight. Man, we were filling our head with all kinds of garbage. No wonder we had so much garbage in our life. And then it started changing. We were out there hitting it, and we wasn't working so hard, we'd put some people in and some people would quit. And we'd put some more people in and some people would quit. And we'd go get somebody to a seminar and they'd get all fired up. They'd come to a seminar like this and they'd be like, woohoo! I'm going to be rich. I'm going to do this with you, and you can count on me. I'm going to be your first PC leader. I'm like, yeah, I got one. And I'd hold him. I love my PC leader. We're going to be great. Come here. You stay right here while I go get 5 more PC leaders like you. And I'd go show another one. I'd get somebody to a seminar, and they'd sit there. Yeah! They'd get all fired up. Look at my eyes. This one here, I got PC eyes. You can count on me. Or like, yes, I got 2 of them. Oh. Let me take you over and introduce you to my other PC leg. Where did the other one go? Where is he? You know what I realized? Most people don't have the courage to finish what they started. And if you allow other people who don't have the courage to finish what they started to make you not have the courage to finish what you started, then you didn't have the courage to finish what you started. When you decide to win, you win, period. Period. But it was through this. It was through hitting it and hitting it and hitting it. All of a sudden, this business went from our head into our heart. All of a sudden, we realized this business wasn't about just making money. This business was about making a difference. We have a rule on our team of have fun, make money, make a difference. We love having fun. We love it when people celebrate. We love the recognition. We love people making money and being able to pay their bills and being able to get out of jobs that they're not enjoying anymore. It's not their passion. But the biggest thing is when people get truth into their life, when people start to listen, these CDs and books, they're not a little thing. It's everything. When you get truth and apply it to your life, when you learn areas about family and become a better husband, a better mother, a better wife, that changes everything for your kids. That's not a little thing. What would you put? What price tag would you put on being a better dad? What price tag could you put on being a better mother? What price tag could you put on being a leader and being able to serve people and build communities and help people understand that there's still hope? You know, I'm so sick and tired in America today and really across the Western world. Everybody's talking negative. Everything's bad. There's no hope. There's no such thing as hopeless situations. Only hopeless people in situations, and living intentionally for excellence is going to do something about that. We're going to do something about that. You can count on it. We realized that we literally were getting paid to improve people's lives. That's what life is. You want to know the products of life? The products are better people in all 8 F's. When I look at the leadership team, I look at a Chris Brady, I look at a Tim Marks, I look at a George Gazzardo, I look at a Bill Lewis, I look at a Claude Hamilton or a Dan Hawkins and many other leaders. When I look at those leaders, those are the products. They're better people because they've been learning and applying leadership principles in all 8 F's. And when you walk in, if you're hearing this for the first time, you are walking to an arena of excellence where we're no longer accepting mediocrity in our life. That we know if better's out there, we're going to pursue it with excellence. With excellence. And because we've wrapped it around a business, we've got to recognize so many businesses, well, I'm going to have to see the product, and they get all focused on the product. You know what? The product isn't our business. The business is our product. What we've done is we've created a system. If you think that the product of McDonald's is the hamburger, you don't get it. There are many people. You can go to many cookouts across America and eat a better hamburger than the one McDonald's, but you won't eat a better selling hamburger than the one you eat at McDonald's, because McDonald's has a system to move hamburgers over and over and over again. And that's what we do. We have a system for success. We bring people into the business. We teach them a step-by-step process to build communities. And as they build the people in their community and their communities grow, they make more money. The more the community grows, the more the information flows. The more the information is applied, the more you get free and help people on your team get free. Who's in? Who's in? You in? Are you in? We're all in. Let's go to 1 million people. 1 million people. It's time right now. It's time to fulfill our destiny. You start to realize, you start making enough money that you realize, man, you've got enough money that you could live 10 years without another check. Then you get to the point, man, I could live 50 years without another check. Then someone says, well, then why are you so passionate about this? As long as there's a person out there that's hurting, as long as there's a person out there that is losing hope, as long as there's a person out there that's struggling, starving for truth in any area of their life, we have a responsibility to share with them some of the blessings that have come into our life. When you have been blessed, it's time to be a blessing, paying it forward into someone else's life. Absolutely. Let me read you something. Why is the West falling? And for years, for the last 100 years, commentators and some of the greatest thinkers in history are saying that the West has fallen. Let me explain. Stephen Covey, in his book 7 Habits, a classic, says, as my study took me back through 200 years of writing about success, I noticed a startling pattern emerging in the content of literature. I began to feel more and more that much of the success literature of the past 50 years was superficial. It was filled with social image consciousness, techniques, and quick fixes, with social band-aids and aspirin that addressed acute problems and sometimes appeared to solve them temporarily, but left the underlying chronic problems untouched to fester and resurface time and time again. You see, guys, we've got to do more than just, oh, let's just put a little Band-Aid there and say it'll go away, kiss the boo-boo and say it goes away. No, when you lose the foundation of character, everything goes away. Because when you lose the foundation, buildings start to collapse. Cultures start to collapse. Jose Ortega y Gasset, in his book, Revolt of the Masses, said the most radical division that is possible to make of humanity is that which splits it into 2 classes of creatures. Those who make great demands on themselves, piling up difficulties and duties, and those who demand nothing special of themselves, but for whom to live is to be every moment what they already are, without imposing upon themselves any effort towards perfection, mere buoys that float on the waves. You see, guys, the problem with America and the West is more and more people are joining that second group, asking nothing of themselves, demanding nothing of themselves, waking up every day just searching to entertain themselves to death, no longer striving for excellence in any area of their life. Oh, they have a bad marriage, divorce is the remedy. Oh, they're having a conflict with someone, just don't talk to them anymore. Just ruin relationships left and right. Oh, we're struggling with some debt problems. Let's just refinance the house and push it off. So when we die, we can hand off all of our mortgage debt to our kids. Somebody needs to be responsible. America was great because America was good. America was great because the character and content of the character of the individuals that came over were asking for no handouts. They were asking for hand-ups. They were looking for people to help. And I believe that that's still true of America. It's just lost because nobody's teaching it anymore. I have spoke across the West. I've spoke in Norway. I've spoke in so many states, practically every state in the United States of America, practically every province in Canada. I've spoken in South America. I've spoken in Australia. And here's what I find. People are people. That everybody has hopes, dreams, aspirations. That everybody has struggles, disappointments, hurts. And that what they need is for someone to show them solutions to the problems. They don't really need nor really want handouts. If someone will reach a hand down, true success is climbing the ladder of success, extending your hand to the next rung, but also reaching your hand down to grab the next person striving for excellence in their life and pulling them up. And reaching one hand up, striving personally for greatness, but also reaching down and helping others accomplish greatness in their life so that we can change the country and change the world through our efforts. Absolutely. And here's how we're going to do that. Here's what we've done with life. What life is. It's a combination. It's a marriage of 4 industries combined into one. It's revolutionary. No one's ever done it before, nor will anybody ever be able to do it again. There's only one first time. The 4. The team has been the recognized leader in building communities over the last 12 years. We've been number 1. We've been the fastest growing community. We understand leadership. We teach principles of building and maintaining large communities. Tens of thousands of people attend our events. We've increased over 3,000 people attending our events in the last 3 months alone. We are exploding as a community. But that's just one side. We've married that to networking. Not all the bad that you hear about networking, but all the good. What we've married is in networking, your pay raise becomes effective as soon as you do. I love that. Anybody who's a performer loves that. Anybody who's not a performer doesn't love that so much. So when you hear negative about networking, of course, because not everybody's performers. If you're looking for a handout, you're not going to like networking. But you know what? The people looking for a handout aren't the ones who are going to change this culture anyway. So I'm glad. If someone that's looking for a handout doesn't want to be part of life, fantastic. But if they are struggling, but they're not looking for a handout, they're looking for a hand up, then we are going to extend that hand, and we're going to teach that young man or woman or older man or woman, and we're going to teach them how to win in their own business. That's the beauty of networking. Entrepreneurship. We bring leadership and entrepreneurship to the masses. Anybody can win in our system. Win it. So you got community. You got the best in community. You've got the best in networking. And we have a compensation plan rolled out with life that's not 10% better than the next. It's not 25% better than the next. It's 50% more compensation because it's based around digital age thinking. CDs that are digital age, we can pay, we flow the money back to the producers, the people who will extend those hands and bring more and more people in the community and educate them on principles that America was founding. When we help those type of people get wealthy, listen, so many people, oh, it's bad to be wealthy. It is? Go tell that to your bank when they ask for your mortgage payment. It's bad to make money. It's not evil to make money. It's evil to love money more than your people. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. When it comes to leadership, the third thing we marry, we have community, we have networking. Marry that to leadership and self-development. Leadership and self-development is a $150 billion enterprise. So many businesses producing. You've got some great ones like Covey out there. You've got some not so great ones. But every single one of them, they produce content and customers buy it. They make tens and sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars, and everybody else just gets the content. But what we've done in life is said, why don't we produce the content and share that wealth across the people that are helping us spread the message of hope to America and eventually to the world? Is anybody interested in helping spread that message and get paid to do so? That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. And you think about it, guys. Already, the team is formed. We have Chris Brady, that is a best-selling author. Chris and I wrote Launching a Leadership Revolution. It's a best-selling book. It was a New York Times top 5 seller. It was a Wall Street Journal #1. It was a Business Week #1. The credibility that this leadership has, there's no organization in the country that has 2 of the top 30 leaders. We have 2 of the top 15 best leadership gurus in the world on the team. And you know what? There's more coming. As we continue to grow our numbers and as more and more people start having hope and we start turning the culture of decline that's going on in America and in Canada and start to move that across the world, then more and more people will join. And when more and more people step up into leadership and when they reach certain levels, we'll ask them to write a book. We'll have people that will help them write that book and we'll get their story out to the world. And can you imagine when the team is 100,000 or 1 million people that are subscribing to their subscriptions and getting a book and some CDs and learning about leadership principles and all 8 F's. And all of a sudden, you write this book and it's released. And the first day it's released, you sold 100,000 copies, making you a best-selling author, all because you had the courage to get good at your own business. You are changing. You are changing. You are a script breaker for your family. You are changing your family's legacy because you got started. And when the going got tough, the tough got going. That's what it's going to take to win in your own business. Community, networking, leadership, self-development, and the last one, life coaching. Life coaching is a $10 billion+ industry right now, and it's growing, one of the fastest growing segments of the economy because people are realizing that lack of leadership is what's caused the decline. And it is, but it's not just any leadership. It's not that personality ethic leadership that Stephen Covey was talking about. It's the character ethic leadership that counts. To get mentors from people who don't just think they know about leadership. You can't mentor on the team until you built thousands of people into your community. When George Gazzardo or Tim Marks, for example, when they mentor someone, they're not going on theory or hypotheses. This might work. They know it works because it's worked in their life to build thousands of people into their community. So life coaching is so different than picking up a phone and talking to someone that really doesn't know you and they spout a few concepts that you could read out of a book. That's not mentoring. Mentoring is when you know the family, you know their hurts, you know their struggles, you know their dreams, and you teach them that every dream that's birthed must go through a period of struggle, just as every child that's born must go through the pain of the birthing process. That they enjoy the child at the end, you must endure the pain of the labor. And that's one of the few times where I thank God every day that I'm a man. And I realize Lori is a much stronger lady. She is a very brave and courageous lady. And I can sit here today and tell you how much I love and respect my wife. And I can tell you crazy stories about our early days. But to tell you, she could come up here and tell you a lot more crazy on me. You know what? We messed a lot of things up. But one thing we learned as we started listening to CDs, we learned that you can't fix a marriage if you quit. And we learned that you can't be a champion. You track any champion in any field, and one thing you'll find in common, every single champion in every single field, one thing you'll find in comparison, in unison with every single one, is they didn't quit. If you are going to be a champion, you can't just start this process. You have to decide that you're going to finish this process. You see, life coaching is helping you develop that courage to finish. When you sit down with someone that understands your dreams, your struggles, and your victory, they can help you get the right perspective, reframe the struggles to keep you on the journey long enough for you to realize that you are a champion. That inside every single person here, and anybody listening to this on CD, wherever you are a champion. That there is a champion inside of you, but you got to decide that you're going to start listening to the right voice. Because you've got a positive voice going on that says, yes, I can win here, I can be a champion. But you've got a negative voice that, I know someone who tried something like that. And well, first of all, they didn't try something like this, because this ain't ever existed before. Right? But you know what? There are people who have tried business and failed. In fact, Colonel Harlan Sanders, he tried 1,009 times. He was rejected 1,009 times before he had his first successful restaurant agreed to try his Kentucky Fried Chicken formula. Now think about that. How many people would go through 1,009 no's on what they believe in, 1,009 times driving up and sitting down with a restaurant owner and explaining your plan and getting no after no after no? And I can tell you that no one in this room will have to endure 1,009 no's with the life coaching, with the community, with the networking, and the leadership model that we're going to teach. But you know what? When you have the courage of your conviction so strong that you will until no matter what, then you will come up on the stage as a new PC member yourself. You will come up on this stage as a new life coach yourself, building 6 organizations to the top of the chart and getting people free because you had the courage of your convictions, the will until to achieve a mighty victory. So you take all those 4 together, and here's what you have. Here's the 4 C's of why life is about ready to hit America, hit Canada, and eventually hit the world, and redefine 4 industries, bringing them into one, creating a whole new industry out of 4 industries that all are good in their own right, but together are going to create a perfect storm of excellence. And the 4 C's are competence. The competence in the teams building communities, we're the recognized leader in competence, the best in the field for the last 12 years. Credibility, our leadership credibility, no organization has 2 of the top 15 leaders. We have them and more coming. Compensation, there's no networking compensation that's within 50% of what we're bringing to the table on November 1st. And cost competitiveness, how can you possibly be number 1 in competence, number 1 in credibility, and number 1 in compensation and do all that at the lowest cost? How is it possible? I'll tell you how it's possible. Because the owners of life made one crucial decision when they got started. We said, we're not going to get rich by owning a company. We're going to get wealthy by serving people in the field just like you. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's all about you. It is time. No more are we going to be part of the problem. We are going to be part of the solution. While the rest of the world whines, complains, and makes excuses, you, my brothers and sisters, can be part of the solution in changing yourself and changing your community and then eventually changing the world. God bless you guys.
While no one can guarantee success, many have proven these ideas to be powerful in building a successful business. For more information regarding the Life Business and its compensation plan, visit www.the-life-business.com. Use of team materials in building your life business is strictly optional. Unauthorized reproduction is prohibited. All rights are reserved. This is a copyrighted program of TEAM.